and Ben that this thing is not going to start when it's on the boat.
Is it in neutral?
That was good. I'm gonna get an electric outboard. I'm so tired of it. Yeah, I love, you know, we've all grown up on gas, but if I had an electric outboard, this we had no
Just
problem.
go.
Yeah, we just go.
There it is. See? This thing is gonna bust.
No, but it's for sure. It's warmed up. It's ready. It's not going to stall on me. My fear is it's going to stall me. Well, maybe it might. It's slowing down. I don't know. Ran all the crap out of the car. Yeah! Okay, be honest with yourself. You don't have to tell me, but don't lie to yourself. How many of you have had this problem where you missed the gray light topwater bite because you couldn't get your outboard started? And how many of you just simply had to go home or just troll around in the middle because you couldn't get out to the main lake? And even then, motors like that were still your best option to get around. Until, well, now. May I present to you the perfect, small, little portable outboard. No gas leaks or oil leaks in your car, no having to worry about the impeller, no having to worry about cold starts. As long as you make sure you take good care of the battery, this thing is pretty much maintenance free. You can throw it in and out of your truck, in and out of anywhere like a trolling motor. The tiller folds. It's freaking awesome. I have it specifically for all my small watercraft, and it has made my situation so much better. I absolutely hated the loud noise and the rattling of the little portable 6-horse Yamaha that I had. With this thing, no rattling, no noise, super quiet, and it's actually made to propel, unlike a trolling motor. And the battery packs, which used to be an issue because they used to be big and bulky and too heavy and way overpriced, are now not a problem. The battery takes about as much space as it does on a normal fuselage tank of a small portable tiller. And though yes, it is more expensive than the standard gas outboard equivalent, it's not so much more expensive that it's unrealistic. Truth be told, this thing will pay for itself over and over again once you get it. You'll love it, you'll never want anything else. Guys, electric outboards are here to stay, they're not going to go away. And they've been losing, and in a lot of ways they're still losing, but we have a solid win today. I'm going to talk to you specifically some no-nonsense BS on why there's at least one class of outboard that is starting to win. This is also going to debunk all the failed marketing strategies from everybody else before. Like, oh, it'll save you on gas. Oh, you can combo as your trolling motor. Not very great ones. We'll talk about actual usable strategies for why at least this outboard is the best thing to get. And with gas being what it is today, not knowing if it's ever going to shrink back, ever, why not have this video? Well, you'll save on gas. That's until like you look at a fuselage tank of like one of the equivalent 3, 4, 5 horsepower outboards. It's only like a half a gallon to fill those fuselage tanks. They theoretically last about as long as the same battery life, or actually probably longer. But then you start to get into whether or not you're actually saving any money by not getting gas versus the electric bill that's charging up, and you're still spending money to either charge it or fill it up. So that was fail. Also, with comboing as your trolling motor, nobody cares. I mean, some people might care. It's a little bit more marketable than the whole you're saving on gas thing. Although today, I think the whole you're saving on gas thing is still pretty relevant, but it'd still only be like $3 if you're going to fill up a fuselage tank. Like for this 2.5 horsepower Suzuki, anyway from 2 to 5 horsepower, I think all the way to 2 to 6 horsepower, you have fuselage tanks. Anything after that, the 8 horse to 9 horses, you need an external tank. And those are also a different class, and a lot of those are going EFI, getting rid of all the problems from like the level 1 outboards, which are 2.5 to 6 horsepower, if we're kind of staying on that spectrum here. So let's talk about where they do win, at least for the level 1 class, are starting to win overwhelmingly. In fact, they are now the actual top thing to get. For one, no maintenance. Pretty much no maintenance. None. That means no gummed up carbs that won't start after you've already traveled 1 to 2 hours to a lake, hoping it'll start and it doesn't. And then it just acts as a rudder. No having to worry about cold starts. Running your motor is super loud. It's not loud at all. And that's less of a problem with the higher, more efficient EFI outboards, which they're pretty much not loud at all, although you can hear it much more underwater, you can hear the exhaust vent out. You can't much hear it at the top. It's deceiving, where it's actually quieter at the top than it is at the bottom. But this thing's just quiet all around. Makes kind of a whining sound. They all make the whining sound at all. You ever seen an electric outboard take off? It sounds like everybody's whining. 4, no impeller. So when your motor doesn't like not take a piss when you start it up at the lake, and then, I mean, there's just so many reasons that have happened to me, and I'm sure have happened to you guys, even with proper maintenance and all those things, where the motor just did not work when you took it to the lake. But despite that, we used them forever because when they did work, they worked well and they were pretty efficient. I mean, one little fuselage tank could take you pretty darn far, and then an external 3-gallon tank, you could go around the lake all day. It might not go very fast, but you went around everywhere. And honestly, for electric outboards, the whole, you can combo your trolling motor and outboard together, and it being like more fuel, like you don't have to worry about fuel. That wasn't enough to really justify the extensively high cost for one. And like very high. Like way out of the affordable range of the average person. But since all outboards are really expensive and hard to get now, it starts to become a little bit more relevant, at least at this level. Level 1. Let's talk about level 1 motors that are here today and present and still very much alive. Torqeedo has their version. And then for Elko electric outboards, well, you need 24 volts of battery just to run it. So you need external batteries to run it. It's not running on its own system, and it also needs an impeller to be changed. So it has some maintenance. It looks just like a regular outboard. The one that I think wins overwhelmingly in the category here is the ePropulsion Spirit 1.0, which I have personally been trying now for a while, and it is definitely worth the money. If you're going to invest in a small outboard to push yourself around electric lakes or just lakes with horsepower restrictions, something you don't want to worry about maintenance, something you can just throw in your closet and forget about it, and then bust it out and put it on a boat, and it works like the first day you got it. Pretty invaluable. Of all the things you have to worry about on a trip. I mean, a lot of these things were not a problem as of like even a year or two ago, but are now a big problem. Parts, getting parts, finding them for older 2-stroke outboards is getting harder and harder. Finding technicians that will work on older 2-stroke outboards is way harder. The 4-stroke outboards, even the 4-stroke carbureted outboards are still, there's still techs that'll work on those things. But actually getting like organizational level maintenance for yourself, like fixing the impeller, fixing the carb kits, those kits have actually started to get hard to get. And if you don't want to do it yourself and you have to pay a technician, you still have to pay somebody to do it, and that's pretty expensive. And like over time, you start to win in maintenance and in gas costs, which again, another relevant thing, which is before it was like a long amount of overtime, but now in a really relatively short amount of time, this thing will pay for itself. Not to mention it's pretty powerful. For only being rated for a 3 horsepower, it's rated. It doesn't actually have a real horsepower rating, but it's an equivalent, they say, of a 3 horsepower outboard, which I don't see a major difference between 2.5 and a 6 horsepower outboard. When they're on there, I have not personally seen a major difference in speed. It's like getting a 30-pound trolling motor and a 55-pound trolling motor. You'll see a little bit more torque. It'll perform better in the wind, but as far as like top speed, you don't see a whole lot. It's not meant to plane. It's just meant to it's meant to propel your boat, not troll your boat, but it's on average out of like small watercraft, you're only seeing 30 to 40% more power, maybe. It's 40% is like generous out of a level 1 outboard on a boat. You're not going to be planing on that thing. It's not meant to plane. There's no advanced propellers. There's no like, you can't switch from like an 8 pitch to a 10 or a 12 pitch. There's no pitches. There's like 1 or 2 options. It's just meant for torque and consistency. So if electric outboards are ever going to win, it was going to be in this category, because the level 1 outboard spectrum would have been the easiest one to beat. It's like a glorified lawnmower engine. So yeah, they're winning now. Finally winning with a very lightweight battery on top of a very nice, robust, no maintenance motor. The battery floats. It comes in its own carry case. If you want to throw it in your car, you don't got to worry about gas and oil leaking in your car and then that smell never leaving. You don't have to worry about any of that. You just treat it like it's electric, because it is. The only thing you got to worry about is the battery. Take care of the battery. The battery is very expensive. Battery is as expensive as the stupid lower unit. But altogether, I think it's between $2 and $3 grand, the whole motor. I think prices are eventually going to go up. $2 to $3 grand for a motor that size, yeah, it makes your stomach kind of hurt, because that's what you would pay for like a 9.9 to a 15. A nice one with features. I get it. But I would say for smaller lakes, ponds, reservoirs with horsepower and gas restrictions, all these electric only lakes, it's a solid win for a smaller boat. Absolutely. For a kayak that can take an outboard that has like a little transom area back there, absolute win. For a new canoe, for a ginu, for my yak killers, for this thing, absolute win. Now I still do have a gas outboard. I still have that 6 horsepower Yamaha. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. There's absolutely no point to use it now. There's just real no reason to have it. I'm going to sell that thing and use it to get another electric outboard, or just more boat parts, or a fishing rod. All right, guys, that was the discussion. I hope you enjoyed it. If you disagree with it, please put in the comment section below why. But I will tell you unequivocally, with all my experience in dealing with specifically small watercraft and small modified watercraft, that the outboards finally took a W in the electric department. I mean, the W is 2.5 to 6 horsepower. The 8 to 9 horsepower realm is still to be defeated, still going strong for the gas outboards, and well, everything else is too. What will be even more impressive, and maybe soon coming, but maybe not so much, is if electric outboards can get gas outboards to take an L in the 8 to 9.9 department. So far, no, the batteries are too heavy, way too expensive, and so the battery weight to motor power ratio just isn't there. It actually ends up being a 5 horse or 6 horse, like, out because of all the extra added weight. But when that changes and they get a battery source that is actually lightweight, then we will start to see a super dynamic shift. It's all about how bad are gas prices going to get and how much better are the power sources for these electric outboards going to get. That is a disparity, and as that changes, and it will, we'll start to see a big dynamic shift. Now, whether it's affordable, that's the other thing. But right now, the Propulsion Spirit 1.0 motor is pretty affordable, I would say, as far as electric outboards go. And because of the pretty much next to no maintenance at all you got to do is make sure you don't leave it to rot outside in the sun. It's going to last more or less forever. There's no expiration date. The one thing about electric motors in general, whether it's an electric generator in a naval ship or anything taking large electric motors, is that the electric motors are extremely reliable. Super low maintenance, can be ran for hours and hours and hours on end, and it's been that way for years and years, like decades. And it only gets better with time. So really the only thing you gotta worry about is the battery. The battery is much more likely to go out way before the actual lower unit and motor ever do. But the charge cycles you're able to get out of this thing, as long as you keep it in a relatively cool temperature, stowing it. Obviously when you're outside, it's gonna get a little hot. You'll be out in the sun, you'll be out on the grind, you'll be fishing, but just don't leave it outside for days or weeks on end rotting in the summer sun on top of your boat. Take it off, put it somewhere. I mean the battery. The outboard, probably you can leave it out there. Another cool thing to know is that the battery has a very smart management system inside it. That means after 5 days with no use, if it's fully charged, it'll drop down to 60% charge. It's apparently 60% charge for long-term storage of lithium batteries is optimal. The battery is smart enough to know to do that, among other things. So I think the battery is very, very well made. The whole motor is very well made, so it's made to last for years. And theoretically, with the proper keeping of it, it's the charge cycle. So however many charge cycles you do within a period of time, so it could last you 10 years, 20 years, whatever. I mean, as long as you take care of the battery, it'll last you for much longer than any gas outboard. That's what I got to give you guys. See you later out there. Peace.